Senator Methu John Muhia, Nyandarua County.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. And I want to encourage Senator Omtata, Senator Andrew Okia Omtata. You're not the only voice, because you are a voice that, just like Elijah Mwangale, the stone, it is your work to tell the stone. Whether the stone wants to listen, it is up to the stone. But you're not the only voice on this particular matter, especially on the recommendations that have been made by the Committee on Finance. I think I'm with you. I will not say that I support the recommendations that have been made by the Committee on Finance. More specifically, because I see them as a tap on the list of the government. They are just very moderate in terms of the recommendations that have been made on such a serious breach of the Constitution of the Republic of Kenya. They never want to go for the jugular. They don't want to say, and as it is, Honorable Speaker. So therefore, Honorable Omtata, feel encouraged. It feels good to do the right thing. We have always been hand-tied in the past, and you know. But we feel good. If this is how you've been feeling for the time that you've been speaking freely, we feel very good that you are now able to speak very freely without any baggage of being threatened by anybody. That if you say this, this will happen. If you don't say this, that will happen. So we are now able to speak very freely. Honorable Speaker, we are staring at an extremely difficult and an extremely dangerous situation as a country, Honorable Speaker. And in fact, what we are staring at is a threat on the sovereignty of the Republic of Kenya. Because, Honorable Speaker, when our debt has grown to 11.2 trillion, regardless of the route, as has been spoken about by Senator Omtata, regardless of the route that you've used to arrive to 11.02 trillion of our national debt, Honorable Speaker, and looking at the amount of money that we as a country are expected to pay to service our debt, then it tells you that the sovereignty of this republic is actually at very, very great risk. And the actions that have been made, and the actions that have been, the very deliberate actions that have been taken and steps that have been taken by the William Ruto administration, Honorable Speaker, they are putting this country in a hole that it will be extremely difficult for us to get out of this particular hole, Honorable Speaker. And let me say this, looking at all the recommendations and all the submissions that have been made by every person who actually, I've seen that there were like 7 or so bodies that gave the recommendations on this particular report, Honorable Speaker. None of them has rounded President William Ruto, because every one of us, including the members of that particular committee, they know that we are actually, or the country is not on the right trajectory. If by June 2025, Honorable Speaker, which is this year, by June of this year, our public public debt service will be standing at 1.95 trillion. That will be almost half of the national budget, Honorable Speaker. Because if our budget for the next year will be standing at 4 trillion, Honorable Speaker, and we are spending 1.95 on our on servicing our national debt, Honorable Speaker, it tells you that for almost every 1 shilling that is collected, half of that money will be used for loans, Honorable Speaker. And the Senator Omtata has told you that, especially for the external loans that we get, they are meant, or they are supposed to go to capital projects. I would also ask, like Senator Onyonka has asked, what is this hole that never fills, Honorable Speaker? If every year we are paying 1.95 trillion, how comes our national debt does not reduce? And we also would want to put to test, because part of the campaign promises by President William Ruto, he was saying, and if I was to quote him, watu wamekopa pesa wamekula pesa hii Kenya, watu wamekuwa wakikopa pesa wanapeleka mahali ingine, tukichukua hii serikali hatutakuwa tunakopa, serikali yetu tutaweka sawa sawa na tutarokota kodi. Lakini we need to put that statement to test, Honorable Speaker. In his first year, President Uhuru Kenyatta, since he was sworn in 2013 to 2014, September of 2013 to September of 2014, Uhuru Kenyatta had a debt, or had accumulated a debt of 437 billion. What about our angel who was supposed to correct that particular problem, President William Ruto had accumulated a debt of, in his first 9 months, in his first 1 year, sorry, he had accumulated a debt of 1.2 trillion. And Honorable Speaker, we then need to ask ourselves, because we are not borrowing this money to for any other person, we borrow this money for the people of Kenya. Is it that the quality of life of the people of Kenya has improved since President William Ruto came to power? At least for President Uhuru Kenyatta, when he came to power, maybe you can say that the 437 billion that he had accumulated in debts, Honorable Speaker, in his first year, he was able to make our secondary school education almost affordable and almost free, Honorable Speaker, and that is a fact. Then we need to then put to test this new administration of President William Ruto. How much has out of this 1.2 trillion, how much has gone to making the lives of the people of Kenya better in his first 1 year in office, Honorable Speaker? You all must appreciate, and we all must appreciate, in his first year of his presidency, the taxes went very high, and he was saying that we need to be very patriotic. We need to give as much as we can, and we need to press the pay slips as much as we can, so that we can be able to support the national government, so that we stop borrowing, and so that we can develop and we can grow our own country using our own money. He was saying that if you are able to spare a shilling or two from your pay slip, a shilling or two in your taxes, then we shall be able to ensure that we can be able to have a balanced budget. What has happened 3 years later, Honorable Speaker? Now our deficit in our budget is now running to trillions of money. It's the first time that we are seeing this kind of a deficit in a budget, in the national budget, Honorable Speaker. And he's going on to borrow, and it is not that the quality of the life of the people of Kenya is getting better. If you are to put that statement to test, Honorable Speaker, you know that a board, just one board of gypsum, in 2022, when William Ruto became president, was costing at 630 shillings. Now, 3 years into his presidency, it is costing more than 1,000 shillings, Honorable Speaker. University education, by the time William Ruto became president of this republic, Honorable Speaker, it was at least 44,000 per student every year, every academic year, Honorable Speaker. In his new university funding model, students are paying up to 240,000 for one student, one academic year, Honorable Speaker. He has made life extremely expensive, and it has become extremely difficult to be a Kenyan, Honorable Speaker. That is why you feel you hear every time, Honorable Speaker, most of you are saying that they want the freedom of the payslip because they cannot see what this money is. They cannot feel the impact of the money that they have added to the government in terms of taxes versus the services that they are getting from the government, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, we would have expected, and it is the general expectation of the people of Kenya, that in terms of service delivery, you are supposed to get better services when our national budgets are growing. If, for example, Honorable Speaker, I was to spend, by the time I became a member of parliament here, Honorable Speaker, I think I was paying about 2,700 for my health insurance. Now I think I'm paying about 37,000, according to the new arrangement that was brought by President William Ruto. If indeed I was to access healthcare, and I don't need to spend my own money again, I would feel that it was worthy. But what has happened? Our health system has collapsed, and you know it, Honorable Speaker. Every time you hear, you have harambes, you are a member of parliament, and you know it. People are suffering in the villages. You are paying more, and you are suffering more. What has become of this country, Honorable Speaker? Why is William Ruto running down this country? Because we need to ask ourselves, why is he running down this country? We don't have any other country. He also wants to, even if he anyway, Honorable Speaker, these are difficult things, and I also want to quickly run to one person who gave his memoranda to this particular committee, and he said that we should try and reduce government wastage on or prudence in the way we use our national resources. Honorable Speaker, when President William Ruto came, he said that we are cutting on all wastages in government. In fact, we were told that austerity measures are setting in. We were told that, including in Parliament here, we were told that we have to reduce our foreign travels. We have to reduce our domestic travel. It has happened in Parliament. I'm told that, the way we travel now is not the same way we used to travel when we came in here. But what happens at the National Executive? Because that is also something that we need to test. Why is it that his budget of his State House budget keeps growing every financial year? It's not that he has new members of staff. It's not that he has new services or he's getting more guests than he was getting so that he can increase his hospitality budget. What was it in State House that he found were the roofs leaking in State House that he had to make it? He had to spend billions of money in a country that people are suffering on very basic issues on health, Honorable Speaker. But he has the money to ensure that he can repair almost all state roads around the Republic, Honorable Speaker. How many can he sleep in, even within one financial year? Why can't he do them progressively? Why would he not then do the State House in Nairobi and leave the rest and do them progressively, Honorable Speaker? He is renovating a State House in Nyeri, renovating another State House in Bungoma, renovating the State House in Nakuru, renovating State House in Mombasa, renovating State House I don't know where. Why does he want to live like a king? And the people that he's leading, the people of Kenya, are suffering and they are sleeping hungry. What becomes, what Honorable Speaker, what joy does he gain in having the best parishes State House in Africa, in the region? He says that he wants the State House of Kenya to be the level of the White House of the United States, Honorable Speaker. Is he leading people who have as much quality of life as the people of the United States, Honorable Speaker? He runs down the health system of Kenya, then he wants to live like a king. Honorable Speaker, tell me, because you know it. As we work on on government, reducing government wastage, Honorable Speaker, tell me how and why it is important, and I want my colleagues to tell me why it is important, that for every one project that has been commissioned, the president has to commission it 5 times. Tell me, Honorable Speaker, because the president was in Nairobi, why would he have to spend a lot of money? You saw the kind of entourage that he was moving with when he was commissioning projects in Nairobi. Tell me, Honorable Speaker, why it was extremely important for him to move in entourages of 50 SUVs, have mobilized people to come and clap for him.
Honorable Senator Methu, I know you have very hearty contributions towards this motion, but I want to remind you of the provisions of the Standing Order 101 on the content of speech, because you are contributing to a report on debt management. But the way your contributions are going, you're debating around the person and the conduct of the president, and for which you then need to move a specific motion. So you should confine yourself to the relevance of what the report that you're contributing to, so that if that report in any manner then points to the fact that it's the president that is doing the budgets and not the treasury, then you would move towards the line of argument you have taken. But under Standing Order 101, then you need to be cautious how you contribute towards this, so that it's not about the debate on the person of the president.
Honorable Speaker, I know you have a responsibility of protecting the president. Is you are party leader and my party leader, for that matter. I am just reading, I'm picking things straight from the report. I have actually gone to page 20.
Are you picking something on that report?
Page that one. Just
let me have the report. Clerk, let me just have the report so that we are on the same page. What page was that you indicated?
I'm at page 30.
Page 30. I see that.
On the yeah, let me get it, but it was the submission that was made by Mr. Ronyo Kevin. I'm just speaking on and it is just a broad term. I'm saying in one of the things that he proposed is reduction of government wastage. I am trying in my argument, Honorable Speaker, to express my disappointment in terms of public wastage. I'm not saying that I'm discussing the conduct of the president. I'm not discussing the conduct of the president. President William Ruto is not State House. In fact, he is not the accounting officer of State House. The accounting officer of State House is the controller.
Yes, Senator Methu, that's why I have guided you understanding Order 101, because when I look at page 30, I have not seen the mention of the president in any of those paragraphs.
And I have not mentioned him in any of my arguments. I'm saying, Honorable Speaker, and I don't know why you want to.
Do you need a review? Because you mentioned several times.
Okay, if it is
Please
wrong
confine yourself to
okay.
the report here.
All right.
Thank
okay.
you.
I know it's a bit uncomfortable, but you just have to bear with things as they are, and then we can be able to move very, very, very quickly. But more importantly, Honorable Speaker, that very good gentleman made that particular observation that we need to ensure that we reduce government wastage. And I was saying, Honorable Speaker, in my opinion, it is not the priority of the people of Kenya now to have the best state ranges and the best state, the best state house in the region. It may look beautiful. It may look, it is elegant. It is excellent. It is beautiful. But does it reflect the lives of the people of Kenya? Is it the same as to, the quality of the life of the people of Kenya, Honorable Speaker? Maybe finally, before there's a recommendation that has been made by the Committee on Finance that I think, to this extent, I would want to agree with. Automation of the withdrawal of the debt service payment from the consolidated fund, Honorable Speaker. You know, this debt, national debt, Honorable Speaker, has become an extremely opaque thing, Honorable Speaker. You're not able to tell how much we paid within what time. For the county debts, Honorable Speaker, which we call the pending bills, Honorable Speaker, you have a view because they are managed through the integrated financial management system. If Ms. Honorable Speaker, you're able to tell this was the date, it was accrued this time, this is what has been done to this date, Honorable Speaker. Why can't we have the same so that we can be able to follow and we can be able to understand how our national debt is flowing, Honorable Speaker? We can be able to know, Honorable Speaker, exactly why, how this money that we have taken as national debt, Honorable Speaker, how it has been used, Honorable Speaker. And maybe finally, and that's where I was before you interrupted me. Then you can guide me on whether I'm discussing the conduct of the president. Why would the state be spending money, millions of money, so that the president can go and commission a project? Honorable Speaker, case on point, I'll give you an example. For 3 times, President William Ruto has been to Nyandarua. He commissioned one road called Donyonjeru Geta Captain Road. On one instance, he commissioned it at the captain side. On another instance, he commissioned it at the Geta side, Honorable Speaker. I hear that he's coming next, I think in a week or two, to commission it at the Geta side, Honorable Speaker. How are we spending our money? How do we say that Kenya is broke and we are spending millions of money just for commissioning projects, Honorable Speaker? Why did we never, ever even see, even for one time, President Kibaki, one of the most celebrated presidents of this republic, Honorable Speaker, on top of car saying that nimetenga, nimesema, nimefanya? Why can't the president just come quietly and commission a project that is complete? Why does he keep launching projects? And once he launches that project, he leaves, the contractor follows him. Now, Honorable Speaker, of all the things that he has promised in Nyandarua, he is coming to the promise again. And we are spending national money because he does not come around. For the president to be in any county, Honorable Speaker, it will require and it will spend a lot of money. I know the
Senator
president has
Eddie,
now new
you
defenders.
you have a point of order?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, you know I understand where Senator Methu comes from. And Madam Speaker, you know, these are standing orders of this House are very clear. And one year attempting to rule on Madam Speaker, but I know that sometimes it makes it more substance when a senator raises it. Madam Speaker, 101 says, 101.1, neither the personal conduct of the president, nor the conduct of the speaker or any other judge, nor the judicial conduct of any other person performing judicial functions, nor any conduct of the head of state or government or the representative in Kenya of any friendly country, or the conduct of the holder of an office whose removal from such office is dependent upon a decision of the Senate, shall be referred to adversely. The word I was looking for here is adversely, except upon a specific substantive motion of which at least 3 days notice has to be given. Mr. Speaker, I find the senator for Nyandarua being adverse because I am very interested in what he's saying. I'm interested when he says that the head of state has used millions of money going to launch projects in his area, which he hasn't used to launch projects in my area, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, I would wish that he brings a substantive motion to this effect, because the MDTA is a very important part of conversation that we must be able to manage debt. This debate about MDDS, Madam Speaker, is not a debate on what the president is doing currently in launching the projects. While that is a matter of interest for Senator Methu, but he's being so adverse in it that I find it juicy that I feel like he will execute it better when he brings a substantive motion so that
Senator
even us, you can know
Eddie,
to participate.
just before we get to 6:30, I'll be adding another 10 minutes to help us finalize this motion and have the reply by Senator Tabitha.
Yes, so Madam Speaker, what I'm saying is that Senator Methu is trying to be adverse in his conversation. I don't have a problem with him pinpointing about projects that are being launched here and there, but I think it needs a substantive discussion because it is not relevant to the debt management strategy, but most importantly, because it's mentioning numbers, it's mentioning projects that are being launched, and they're not being launched in my area, Madam Speaker. I have got interest in that conversation, but then the standing orders requires a substantive motion, Madam Speaker. Therefore, I wish that you rule him out of order up until he brings a substantive motion on this conversation, Madam Speaker. I thank you.
Let me dispense with this point of order first. We have a point of order already given by Senator Eddie, and I'll dispense with it first. Senator Methu, you have heard the issue that has been raised under that point of order, and I had guided and given you a direction on it. So don't wade into that adverse mention of the person of the presidency until you bring a substantive motion and give a notice of 3 days. And so that we don't waste time, I'll give you a chance to finish your submissions and then we'll proceed on. What's your point of order, Senator Methu? Senator Karongo Dangwa, you know you look the same lately. You walk too closely, so you really do look like real brothers.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much for the opportunity. You know, Madam Speaker, wonders will never cease to happen that it is Senator of Migori who is standing to defend President William Ruto on the floor of the House.
Senator,
My point of order.
Senator Dangwa, what's your point,
My
of,
point
order
of order
and under which standing order?
is starting order 105, statement of facts.
Proceed.
It's very sad, and I would want you to rule Senator of Migori out of order. Because, Madam Speaker, the standing
Senator Eddie,
orders.
maintain your silence.
Yes,
the speaker
please.
is in charge.
The standing orders.
Will you deal with it? Just maintain your silence so that he can be heard.
Because all we are doing,
he's on his feet. Maintain your calm and
All, all we are doing, Madam Speaker,
Proceed,
we are just
Senator Methu.
interfering with the debates by Senator Methu. The standing orders are very clear. If there is an issue any senator would want to be either informed, either mentioned, there's request for statement. We cannot have the senator of Migori telling the senator of Nyandarua to tell him what the president is supposed to have done in Migori or not, Madam Speaker. It is the prerogative or the mandate of the senator here to request for a statement on the floor of the House and say the president has been launching programs in other counties and not launching in Migori. But do not defend the president here when the Senator Methu says that he has been launching programs who is not seeing and they are not free. Money is being used, people are being carjacked, people are being having their bags taken, people are being stolen for. Madam Speaker, what I'm trying to say is rule him out of order so that we can give the Senate an opportunity, because he is discussing this MTDS, Madam Speaker, so that we have to understand why is Kenya or why is the government saying there is no money, yet there's misuse, Madam Speaker. The misuse is so much that we are even, Madam Speaker, telling our children we are going to give them chapati. We have finished all the development programs. The only thing that is remaining is chapati, Madam Speaker.
Senator Thangwa, I do not know where you are driving us into with that debate, because the question you're raising, Senator Methu, I've not given you the floor, so resume your seat. Senator Thangwa, the issue you are now raising is under Standing Order 105. Nobody has requested for facts. What Senator Eddy referred Senator Methu to was Standing Order 101 on the contents of speech, and when the person of the president is mentioned, an issue I had even given a guidance on, but Senator Methu still veered away from the directive of the speaker, from the directions of the speaker. So I want to once again rule your point of order. It's out of order, actually, because it did not respond to the issues and it introduced an issue which the chair had dispensed with. So I will allow Senator Methu to proceed on with the submissions and to stick within the guidelines offered by the speaker.
I don't know why Senator Tabitha is really eager to have me conclude, but Honorable Speaker, what should not be in the content of my speech is the conduct of the president. And the dictionary definition of the conduct is a personal behavior, way of acting or bearing of a person. I've not discussed the personal behavior of President William Ruto. I'm only speaking about the office that he holds. So that is quite different, Honorable Speaker, because as as part of my argument.
Senator Methu, I guided you that that issue is dispensed with by the chair.
I am well guided, Chair.
If you have any other issue beyond that issue, you proceed on so that your minutes can be spent.
Of course, I know why I'm being disrupted, but I'll still say what I want to say, Honorable Speaker. That we cannot keep saying, we borrow because we don't have enough. The reason why we keep borrowing is because we, as a country, assume that we don't have enough. But tell me, Honorable Speaker, and now I am on the narrow path of not mentioning anybody. Tell me, Honorable Speaker, how a country which borrows money because we don't have money would have enough and a surplus to give students 1 million chapatis in a day, which, if you were to just give them a price, for example, of 20 shillings a chapati, that would make it 20 million a day. In a week, if they are to go to school for 5 days, that would make it 100 million a week. If they were to be there for a month, that would make it 400 million a month. If you are then to take it to a year, it would be 1.2 billion in a year, if that is correct. So, Honorable Speaker, if you have this kind of money, Honorable Speaker, why are we borrowing? What justification do we have, Honorable Speaker, to continue borrowing when we are planting the same resource, Honorable Speaker? The people of Kenya would want to feel, they would want to see what this money, because you see, borrowing is the easier thing. But the bigger responsibility and the bigger burden is on repayment, Honorable Speaker. The repayment is on the people of Kenya. It is not President William Ruto or anybody or any of us who's in government who repays this money, who repays these loans, Honorable Speaker. The burden of repayment of our national debt is specifically on the shoulders of the people of Kenya. We cannot spend money just anyhow, Honorable Speaker, and then we expect the people of Kenya to continue clapping for us. When we are using, the state is using millions of money to go and mock its own citizens, Honorable Speaker, because a person in a village in Migori who see SUVs in their hundreds, Honorable Speaker, SUVs of the state. I'm not on any person. SUVs of the state, Honorable Speaker, just to go and launch one small project, Honorable Speaker. I think we are mocking the people of Kenya. This is not what the people of Kenya expected from the leadership and from the regime that is ruling us now, Honorable Speaker. I don't want to say anything more than that. I know what that consultation will emanate to, or how it will end up. And before I am rudely interrupted, let me stop there. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Methu.